This is the luxury world. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. In this video brought to you by the luxury world, we will dive into the escalating trade tensions shaking the very foundations of the high-end watch market. The United States has imposed a sweeping tariff on Swiss luxury timepieces, initially set at a staggering 31%, then reduced to 10% in a temporary move that has only delayed the inevitable. Behind the numbers lies a far-reaching ripple effect, reshaping prices, dealer dynamics, gray market behavior, and even the future of boutique retail. Join us as we examine the true impact of America's new import duties on Swiss watches and explore their implications for collectors, investors, and the global luxury market. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to do so to stay informed on future updates. In a surprising geopolitical maneuver, the United States recently imposed a substantial tariff on Swiss luxury timepieces, introducing a 31% duty on imported watches. The news reverberated throughout the global luxury market, triggering widespread concern and strategic repositioning. However, before the full impact could take hold, the government revised the measure, temporarily reducing the tariff to 10% and delaying full implementation for 90 days. This move did not represent a resolution, but rather a brief pause before potential long-term consequences. The announcement introduced a new layer of volatility to an already sensitive market. While the luxury watch industry has weathered cycles of hype, scarcity, and speculation, this shift signaled the entry of political risk into the consumer luxury equation. At its core, the new policy transformed high-end timepieces from aspirational items into instruments caught in the crossfire of international trade tensions. The U.S. tariff, though initially rolled back from 31% to 10%, still applies to the landed cost of each Swiss watch. This distinction is critical. Although the tariff does not directly affect the retail price visible in boutiques, the additional cost burden will eventually reach the consumer, either through adjusted pricing structures or changes in market availability. For luxury buyers, perception often holds as much weight as reality. Even the anticipation of price increases is enough to unsettle demand and influence behavior. Retailers and authorized dealers immediately responded by re-evaluating inventory strategies and preparing for a surge in uncertain buying patterns. In parallel, gray market dealers, known for their agility in responding to supply-demand gaps, found themselves at the center of renewed interest. Buyers who had long waited for authorized purchase opportunities began reconsidering, aware that any further price escalation might place their desired models permanently out of reach. As the tariff debate unfolded, the gray market experienced a resurgence reminiscent of the early 2020s watch buying frenzy. Steel sports models from brands like Rolex, previously purchased at or near retail, suddenly regained speculative value. Dealers began accumulating inventory, not out of strategic certainty, but in anticipation of a potential market spike. It was less a calculated investment and more a defensive maneuver in an unpredictable environment. This wave of buying introduced renewed volatility into pricing. With tariffs looming, buyers began acting preemptively, pushing up demand in a space where availability was already limited. Online watch selling platforms saw increased activity, while private sales via encrypted apps and niche dealers surged. The watch world, which had recently begun to stabilize, was now entering another chapter of accelerated speculation. If the 10% tariff is held, the market may absorb the impact with minimal disruption. Luxury watch buyers have historically demonstrated resilience to moderate price increases, viewing them as routine rather than extraordinary. Annual price adjustments by brands like Rolex are now expected occurrences, often absorbed with little resistance. However, if the full 31% tariff is implemented, the effect will be significant. Prices on certain models could rise by 15% to 20%, pushing once attainable pieces firmly into ultra-luxury territory. This price shift is not likely to reflect reduced demand, but rather restrained purchasing power. Aspirational buyers, previously able to justify the cost of entry, may now find themselves priced out entirely. The Submariner, once considered a milestone acquisition, could become a showroom fixture, not from lack of interest, but due to simple affordability constraints. Other brands, such as Omega, face their pricing challenges. Recent MSRP increases have already created tension between retail and gray market valuations. If Omega raises prices further in response to the tariff, the gap between boutique offerings and secondary market availability may widen to an unsustainable level. In such a scenario, collectors and first-time buyers alike may abandon official channels in favor of more competitively priced alternatives. Major luxury watch manufacturers, particularly Rolex, have not been idle observers in this unfolding drama. The recent acquisition of Bucker by Rolex underscores a long-term strategic pivot toward greater vertical integration. By controlling the retail experience, Rolex can better manage pricing, inventory, and customer data. In the context of rising tariffs, this approach offers added flexibility. Rolex may opt to absorb portions of tariff costs within its ecosystem, thereby maintaining pricing stability while protecting margins. A boutique-only model, once considered a slow-moving evolution, may now accelerate. If international trade tensions continue, Rolex and similar brands could adopt more aggressive direct-to-consumer strategies, ensuring consistency in pricing and availability regardless of geographic market fluctuations. This would not only mitigate gray market leakage, but also reinforce brand control in a climate increasingly defined by unpredictability. Precious metal watches, especially gold variants, are already undergoing pricing transformations. Even before the U.S. tariff announcement, the cost of gold timepieces had been rising due to both increased gold prices and growing interest in metals beyond stainless steel. With a 31% tariff in the balance, gold watches could see exponential price shifts. In essence, two pricing pressures are converging: commodity inflation and government-imposed import duties. The result is a perfect storm that could transform gold Rolexes from luxury statements to exclusive financial declarations. For collectors, this convergence creates urgency. For new buyers, it may spell exclusion. Gold watches, once positioned as attainable upgrades, may soon be considered collectors only due to their skyrocketing prices. While the U.S. remains the primary focus of this policy change, the ripple effects will not be contained within its borders. To avoid gray market arbitrage, where buyers purchase watches in less expensive regions and resell them in higher-cost countries, brands may choose to implement global price harmonization. This strategy would distribute the impact of U.S. tariffs across other markets, maintaining consistent pricing and preserving brand equity. Such a move would mean that even consumers outside the U.S. would experience price increases despite not being directly affected by the tariff itself. This approach mirrors past luxury industry responses to regional pricing discrepancies and reflects a broader effort to eliminate market inefficiencies exploited by resellers and flippers. The coming months are likely to test the adaptability of both retailers and manufacturers. ADs may find themselves squeezed between MSRP hikes and reduced demand, leading to changes in allocation policies and potentially even closures. Larger multi-brand retailers could pivot to selling in regions unaffected by U.S. tariffs, while boutique-only operations may become the norm for select high-end manufacturers. As the mid-July deadline approaches, the watch community remains on edge. Will the full 31% tariff materialize, or will negotiations between the U.S. and Switzerland produce an alternative resolution? Until co-emerges, speculation will dominate consumer and dealer behavior alike. What is certain, however, is that the luxury watch industry is now operating within a fundamentally altered landscape. The days of predictable pricing cycles and gradual market shifts may be over. In their place is a new dynamic where macroeconomic policy, international diplomacy, and shifting consumer psychology intersect. Luxury watches, once seen purely as symbols of personal achievement and refined taste, now carry the weight of global trade tensions and fiscal strategies. The current situation reveals more than just a temporary pricing issue. It highlights a deeper transformation within the luxury watch space. In the face of rising tariffs, consumer behavior is evolving, the gray market is resurging, and brands are reimagining their roles in the value chain. Whether through vertical integration, boutique exclusivity, or global pricing realignment, the industry is poised for substantial change. As the world awaits the final determination of U.S. trade policy in July, both collectors and brands must remain alert. Navigating this new environment will require not just knowledge of horology, but also a keen awareness of global market forces and strategic foresight. What are your thoughts on the Rolex topic we shared in this video? Let us know by leaving a comment and giving this video a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to the Luxury World for more insights into the world of luxury timepieces.